I won the National Board of Review, and this is all happening so fast. And I told Clint, I said, I've been in this business 50 years, but I finally feel like I hit the big time.
Imagine it's the middle of the night. The room is cold. The machines are humming. And a woman is lying there, staring at the ceiling, completely alone. She has held an Oscar in her hands. She has made millions of people feel things they weren't prepared to feel. Her name is known in every corner of the world. But none of that matters right now. Right now, she's just a woman trying to survive. And the worst part? This wasn't the first time. It wasn't even the second. Kathy Bates had been fighting battles that most people never even knew were happening, hidden behind a smile, behind the camera, behind decades of performances that made the whole world love her. But what she was carrying in private, that was a different story entirely. Because behind every role, behind every award, behind every standing ovation, there was a woman quietly falling apart. And what she went through. The secrets she buried, the moments she nearly gave up, the truth she finally had the courage to say out loud, will stop you completely in your tracks. You think you know Kathy Bates? You don't. Not yet. Most people remember her from one moment. One scene. One woman with a sledgehammer and a look in her eyes that made the whole world go silent. When Misery hit theaters in 1990, something shifted. Kathy Bates didn't just play Annie Wilkes, she inhabited her. She breathed life into a character so terrifying, so fully human, so disturbingly real, that audiences couldn't look away. And when Oscar night came, she won. Best Actress. The whole industry stood up and took notice. But here's what they don't show you in the highlight reels. That Oscar didn't come easy. It didn't come fast. And it almost didn't come at all. Kathy had spent nearly 20 years in the trenches before that night. 20 years of auditions where she was passed over. 20 years of being told, sometimes gently, sometimes not, that she wasn't the right look. While other women got the roles, the magazine covers, the fame. Kathy got silence. She was born in Memphis, Tennessee, in 1948. No connections. No industry family. No roadmap. Just a pull toward storytelling so strong she couldn't ignore it, no matter how many times the industry tried to make her feel like she should. She moved to New York and did what artists do when the dream hasn't paid off yet, she survived. She waited tables. She worked in the gift shop at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. She performed in plays that didn't always fill the seats. And still, she kept going. The theater world saw what Hollywood refused to. A Tony nomination for Tonight, Mother in 1983. The kind of quiet, earned respect that comes from doing the work for real, night after night, without a safety net. Critics praised her. Fellow actors admired her. But Hollywood kept looking the other way. She was 42 years old when everything changed. 42. An age when most people in this industry have already made peace with the idea that the big moment isn't coming. An age when the phone stops ringing as often, and the parts get smaller, and the dream quietly fades. But Kathy Bates didn't fade. She refused. And when the moment finally came, she made sure nobody ever forgot it. After the Oscar, the floodgates opened. Fried Green Tomatoes. About Schmidt. Titanic. American Horror Story. Role after role that proved this wasn't luck. This wasn't a fluke. This was a woman who had been extraordinary for decades. And the world had simply been too distracted to notice. But even as everything seemed to finally be going right, something was quietly going wrong. Something she wasn't ready to talk about. Something that was already building in the dark. It was 2003 when the phone call came that changed everything. Kathy was 55 years old. The career she had fought so hard for was finally, fully, beautifully alive. Scripts were coming in. People were calling. She had earned her place, and she was finally getting to live in it. And then the doctors told her she had ovarian cancer. Just like that, everything stopped. But what happened next? This is where you start to understand who Kathy Bates really is. She didn't collapse. She didn't call a press conference. She didn't lean into the sympathy. She did what she had always done in the hardest moments of her life. She got quiet, she got focused, and she kept moving. Surgery. Treatment. Recovery. All of it handled with a kind of stubborn, private grace that most people never even heard about. She showed up on set. She delivered performances that earned Emmy nominations, while simultaneously fighting a battle for her life that almost no one around her fully knew the details of. She made it through. The cancer went into remission. Life moved forward. But the relief, it didn't last. Because in 2012, the doctors found something again. This time it was breast cancer. And this time, Kathy Bates sat with the news, and made one of the most difficult decisions a person can make. A double mastectomy. No hesitation. No half measures. She chose to fight it with everything she had, no matter what the cost. No one expected that kind of courage from someone carrying that much already. But what the surgery left behind, that was something nobody warned her about. After the treatment, after the surgeries, after everything her body had already been through, Kathy developed lymphedema. And if you don't know what that is, you're not alone. That's almost exactly the problem. Lymphedema happens when the lymphatic system is damaged, often, as in Kathy's case, during cancer surgery when lymph nodes are removed. Without them, fluid builds up in the body. It swells. It aches. It doesn't go away. Kathy once described the feeling as wearing a wetsuit filled with water, every single day of her life. Think about that for a moment. Getting dressed in the morning, difficult. Moving around a set, painful. Doing the physical, demanding, exhausting work of being a professional actor, all of it happening while her body was waging a quiet war against her from the inside. And almost nobody was talking about it. She looked around and realized that millions of people, cancer survivors, people just like her, were suffering in silence. Embarrassed. Isolated. Feeling like something was wrong with them. Like they were broken in a way that no one else would understand. That's when things took a turn no one saw coming. Kathy Bates made a choice. She could protect her privacy. She could keep the image clean. She could let the world keep seeing only the actress, only the awards, only the parts of her story that were already written. Or she could say the quiet part out loud. She chose to speak. She showed up to public events with compression sleeves visible on her arms. She sat down for interviews and described her pain without softening a single word of it. She became the most prominent public face of a condition that had been invisible for far too long, and she did it without asking for applause, without making it a performance. She did it because people were suffering, and she had a voice. But even as she was fighting that battle, there was another one happening underneath it. A quieter one. An older one. One that had started long before any die-in. Her whole life, in an industry obsessed with a very specific kind of woman, she never fit the mold. And the industry made absolutely sure she knew it. There were roles she wasn't considered for. Comments made, some whispered, some said directly to her face, about her weight, her look, her size. The message was consistent, year after year: you are not what we're looking for. You are not what they want to see. And for a long time, those voices got inside her head. She has spoken with a raw, unguarded honesty about growing up feeling like a stranger in her own body. About reaching for food when the pain got too heavy. About the exhausting, complicated relationship between self-image and a career that put her in front of cameras and critics at every turn. After her cancer battle, her doctors told her that losing weight could help manage the lymphedema and reduce her risk of recurrence. And over time, she did, more than 60 pounds. But she has been absolutely clear about one thing. It was never about becoming what Hollywood always wanted her to be. It was about her life. Her health. Her decision. On her terms. And when she stood in front of cameras and talked about that journey, she didn't do it with pride or performance. She did it with something far more powerful than either of those things. She did it with vulnerability. She talked about the self-doubt that had lived in her chest for decades. The cruel things said by people who should have known better. The moments she had quietly believed every word. And then, she shared something that made audiences go completely still. She revealed that early in her career, someone in the industry, someone who was supposed to be in her corner, had told her directly that she would never be a real leading lady. That women who looked like her weren't who audiences wanted at the center of a story. She sat with that. She believed it. For years. Until the night she walked up to that stage at the Academy Awards, and the entire world watched her prove every single one of them wrong. But what she said next, what she admitted about that moment, was the part nobody expected. Here's the thing most people never fully connect. 2 cancer diagnoses. A painful, chronic condition that followed her everywhere. Decades of an industry telling her she wasn't enough. Years of fighting just to be seen. Really seen, by a world that kept looking past her. And yet, she never left. At 77 years old, Kathy Bates is still working. Still showing up. Still delivering performances that make you forget everything else happening in the room. Her work in American Horror Story pulled in an entirely new generation of fans who had no idea who she was before, and then couldn't imagine a world without her. Her performances in Misery and About Schmidt remain benchmarks of what acting can actually be when it's done at the highest possible level. Emmy wins. Oscar win. 5 decades of a career that was told, over and over again, that it had no place in this industry. But here's the truth that makes all of it mean something. It was never the awards that defined her. It was the fact that she chose, again, and again, and again, to be honest about the things that were hard. She didn't build a wall. She didn't hide the cancer, or the lymphedema, or the years of self-doubt, behind a polished public persona. She let people see her. Really see her. And because she did, millions of people felt less alone. Cancer survivors. People with chronic illness. People who had spent their whole lives feeling like they didn't fit the shape the world had decided they were supposed to be.